That 15-minute time crunch kills me every time. So I just want to continue to talk about the honoring the rejection every time in the beginning. It's important to honor it every time in the beginning so the individual knows what it means and truly understands how to use it, and it's not just a wishy-washy, I don't really get it type of thing. Obviously, it's not going to be realistic to honor it every time forever, but for the first few weeks until the individual truly understands the meaning, you need, when they use that no button or whatever their symbol is, you need to honor it. As time goes on, you can start to fade that out. You can say, oh, I see that you're telling me you're all done. We need to do 2 more and then we can be all done. Or, I know you don't want to do this, but we have to try for 3 minutes instead of visual timer for them, and then we can be all done, or then we don't have to do this anymore. So you can acknowledge the rejection, and then provide your whatever your limit is going to be on it, and start to build that up so that then the individual understands how to say no, but they also understand that they're not necessarily ruling the world. So there's that for you. The next part, we're going to talk about literacy intervention. So communication, for children who are nonverbal, communication tends to be the big focus. But like I've talked about for those of you who are in the on-campus class quite a bit, literacy and communication tie hand in hand, and it is important to use literacy to teach communication. It's such a wonderful, amazing skill, and they go hand in hand, and you really can use them to build off of each other. So when you're fostering emergent communication, you also need to be fostering emergent literacy skills. So here are some ways you can do that. You can begin by letting the individual choose the book that they want to read about. Think about those preferred interests. Think about things that they might like. If you're teaching choice making, provide the 2 books. Which one do you want to read? Let them choose. It's also good for all young children to do that repeated storybook reading. Read the same book over and over and over and over. You need to do that with individuals who use AAC too, and probably a little bit more, especially if they have cognitive delays as well. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to control the situation and control the communication and the language and stuff going back and forth with the shared storybook that we forget to let individuals hold the book, especially individuals with severe disabilities. But that's important to do. Other kids get to experience holding books and manipulating them, so we need to let our individuals who are learning how to use AAC do the same. You might have to provide some explicit instruction on how to hold it. Where's the top? Where's the bottom? Where's the cover page? The front? The back? Which ones are the words? Where are the pictures? This is the title, types of things. That explicit instruction to teach what a book really is. You also want to have as many opportunities for the individual to participate as you can. You can ask questions about the characters, the setting, the items on the page, etc. And then obviously you need to, hold on. Sorry about that. Ask these questions, but be sure to be teaching the individual how to find the vocabulary to answer the questions, and make sure that you're providing that vocabulary. For example, if you have an individual who's using a high-tech communication device and you're reading The 3 Little Pigs, who are the main characters in this story? Well, go to the animals page, go to the pig page, help them find that and navigate through. You don't need to program a specific button for every book you read. Use the natural vocabulary template that is in the device. That's the only way they're going to learn where all of that vocabulary is located, how to use it in novel new settings. Don't program crazy buttons for books. If you're using a low-tech or mid-tech device, then you are going to have to obviously create and produce some communication symbols to go along with the book. But you can use that core vocabulary versus the fringe vocabulary again. So 3 Little Pigs is going to be pretty specific vocabulary, but you can ask questions to capitalize on that core vocabulary. So you can say, what are the pigs doing? And then you can prompt them to say, build house. Those things are more of that core vocab. Build, house is a noun, but it's still more general than the specificness of the fringe vocab. So just keep that in mind when you're working on that, on asking those questions. You need to make sure you're providing access. Again, this is focusing more on the kids tend to know a lot of the signs for a lot of the different animals and stuff. Use objects, real objects that replicate the characters or the plot of the story. You can program switches like Big Mac buttons or whatever that have repeated storylines. So if you're reading 8 little monkeys jumping on the bed, one fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said you can program a button that says no more monkeys jumping on the bed and do it in a really crazy, silly, fun voice and make it fun for the individual to hit that button every time and have their part in the story. If you're working with a group of people, of kiddos using AAC, you can have each one have a button that does the specific line in the story. That's always really fun to do and watching. Enjoy doing that. You can use mid-type communication boards as well, like I kind of talked about before, to develop some of that vocabulary and whatnot. And then the high-tech devices with the appropriate vocabulary. So ask the questions, have the individual be involved in the story. Think about how you would do a lesson with a book for not a typically developing child, because we don't work with those obviously, but for a kid with just a language delay. How would you do it for a kid who is verbal but has a language delay? Do it the same way for your kid who is using AAC, but just make sure they have access to all the vocabulary they need to be involved. Time is a huge one, and this is a tough thing in schools. You need to be an advocate for your kids with the special ed teachers and everybody else. Typical learners need at least 90 minutes a day of literacy instruction when they're learning to read. At-risk learners, which most of our individuals are going to need at least 130 to 150 minutes per day. That's 2.5 hours a day of literacy instruction. Obviously not all in one chunk because that's not developmentally appropriate, but throughout the day you need to be incorporating literacy as often as possible for these kiddos, or else they're at risk of being illiterate as they grow up, and that's just not fair. So I really want you to be aware of that. Also, don't forget to teach phonological awareness and letter-sound correspondence. Just because an individual can't talk doesn't mean they can't learn to read. Use your strategies that you know for teaching this. You can model it. You can say, this is the letter C. Letter C says k, like in the word cat. The first sound in the word cat is k. Model, model, model. And then move on to guided practice. You can give 2 letters, give a C and give a H. Ooh, this letter says k, this one says h. Which one do you hear at the beginning of the word cat? And have it be like a magnetic letter tile or a flashcard of the 2 words that the individual can choose without having to say it, obviously, the C or the H. And then if they choose the wrong one, then you're going to say, ooh, H says like hot. We're looking for k like cat to give that guided practice. So model it, guided practice, give them independent practice, let them practice on their own. Make sure you're giving immediate feedback and constructive feedback and positive feedback. You want to make sure that they're correct every time. So even if they give the wrong answer, provide the right answer for them and help them work through that. You want to provide the opportunities to use these skills across multiple settings and activities. You could go on a scavenger hunt through the school and be looking for things that begin with the letter L. Like, we're going to look for all of the things that start with L. We're going on a scavenger hunt. Look, the library, the ladies' room, there's a ladybug on the wall on the bulletin board type of thing. So really be aware of teaching that phonological awareness and that letter sound correspondence. Just because they can't talk doesn't mean they can't read. Providing adaptation. So this is when you're assessing their letter sound correspondence and their phonological awareness. Allow them to use sign language. If you say, which letter makes this sound? Teach them that if they know the alphabet, then if they give you the sign for letter M, then that's fine. They can choose a picture of a man or a cat. Which one starts with the sound They can choose pictures to show you that they know. Or they can use the keyboard set on their device. Or you can give them a page that has like the 3 letters that you're working on that week or that month or whatever on that page, and then they're always going to that page to have their letters there or whatever. If 26 is too big of a set for them, then just do 3 on the page or 2 on the page or whatever is appropriate. So again, make sure that you are still advocating for our kiddos who are nonverbal to learn to read. Teach these skills, practice these skills, if other people don't think they can do it, teach it to them and then show them that they can. It's important for us to advocate and provide adaptations for them to learn how to read just like other kids. Literacy is the biggest predictor of success. So that's all we have for these 2 chapters. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.